Vladimir Putin announced this week that Russia will begin using the Chinese yuan for international payments instead of the dollar. Saudi Arabia is also in talks with Beijing to do the same thing. Speaking of Saudi Arabia, meanwhile, they're in talks with Iran as well to consider an economic alliance with China and Russia. And they can even be joining the BRIC countries, which is an acronym for these countries here, Brazil, Russia, India, China, and South Africa. These countries all have emerging economies. So what happens if our economy and the U.S. dollar are no longer the world's dominant currency? Former Assistant Treasury Secretary and host of the Monica Crowley podcast, Monica Crowley, is here to weigh in. Monica, great to see you this morning. Let's start right there. What happens if these emerging economies move away from the U.S. dollar towards the Chinese yuan?
Well, good morning, Will. It's great to be with you. And it's really hard to overstate exactly how catastrophic the abandonment of the U.S. dollar would be as the world's global reserve currency. Look, since the end of World War II, the dollar has been the safe place to go, and it's been backed up by a couple of things. It originally was backed up by gold, but President Nixon took us off the gold standard, so there's no hard asset backing up the dollar anymore for the last 50 years. But also it's been backed up by the strength and economic power of the United States and the fact that oil has always been traded in dollars. If that were to end, that would mean the end of the U.S. dollar. Look, there's a perfect storm happening right now, Will. The world's reserve currency being that, having that status has been a real privilege, but we've abused the privilege by wholly reckless monetary and fiscal policies over many years, certainly over the last couple of years, which has really devalued the dollar. On top of that, now you do have this perfect storm of Biden's weakness, his war on American domestic energy production, the Ukraine war, and as you point out, because of all of these things, we've got America's enemies led by China forming a new economic bloc. And all it would take at this point now, because we're at this pivotal moment, Will, is for Saudi Arabia, who has indicated that they're open to this, to say, you know what, we're going to be open to considering other currencies to trade in oil. If that were to happen, there would be a complete implosion of the global economic system, but certainly the American economic system. And if that were to happen, you'd be looking at sky-high inflation, just raging Weimar Republic kind of inflation. If you think inflation is bad now, just wait. But more importantly, we would lose our economic dominance and we would lose our superpower status.
Monica, the world's reserve currency, you said it's a privilege for the United States for the dollar to have been the world's currency. How does that relate to each individual American? How has that changed or impacted or improved our lives throughout the last several decades?
Yeah, I mean, it's given the United States incredible dominance in the world in terms of the economic system and in terms of trade. It's kept prices down. So whether it's energy prices, whether it's your food prices, the entire global economic system is reliant on the safe and secure dollar. But that is no longer true, again, because we've been printing money like crazy and devalued the power of the dollar and the value of the dollar. But on top of it now, again, oil is the critical linchpin of this. If Saudi Arabia decides to join with America's enemies here and start trading oil in different currencies, that is going to undermine the entire global economic system. And here at home, you know what it's going to mean for us? It's going to mean raging inflation, so much worse than anything we have ever experienced, Will. And I'll tell you, they're setting it up so that they can then come to the rescue by introducing central bank digital currencies. If they were to do that, and the United States already has a pilot program, that means the loss of your individual economic freedom, because the government will have total access and control of everything you buy and sell and the ability to turn it off like that.
Ominous warning. I hear you. Saudi Arabia is the tipping point. Oil trading in dollars is the tipping.
Does it feel more and more like we're being led by a fifth column here in America, meaning people who are traitors to this nation, people that actually literally want to collapse the American way of life, that want to collapse our currency, that want to collapse our banking system, our border, and our military? that wish to inject wokeness, identity politics, and direct racism, Nazi tautology into everything that we're doing. I mean, it does actually feel as though this nation has regressed really severely, and recent polling is showing that. It's a very, very dangerous time in the world, and we need competent leaders that can unite a country and not be just a vicious, old, dementia-addled divider, which is what Joe Biden is. And the number one way to go after America herself and what really undergirds this country, because you have no military, you have no border security, you have no nation, and you have no middle class, of course, if you erode all of the economics of our nation. And that is what they are doing. I mean, Joe Biden is straight up saying he's going to raise taxes, new regulations, banning gas stoves, banning gas-powered cars. What do you think that's going to do to our economy? And moreover, they are investing and tripling and quadrupling their investment in China. Joe Biden has always been a man who has bet against America. He has always put the predations of his family and the ascension of other nations ahead of America. That's why his family immediately goes and grovels to all of the worst dictators and autocracies in the world in order to get money as soon as they thought Joe Biden was done with his political life, because it proved exactly where those people had their priorities. Anti-America. They want to strip the brass off the Titanic. We are being led by people who hate this country. It's a bizarro world, and we need to flip it right.
What's going on, Facebook? It's your boy, Benny. Thank you for watching our video. If you wish to help us fight the communists, share the video, like the video, and join our 1.8 million person strong community on our page, Benny Johnson. Click on the 3 little dots right up here. That will allow you to put our page in the priority list for your feed, and it lets you see when we are live. Don't you want that notification to find out when we are live? That's what we're all about here. Let's go save America together. Thanks, Facebook.